Friday, September 13th. Italian forces in North Africa, commanded by Marshal Rodolfo Graziani, launched their first large-scale offensive from Libya against the worn-down troops of the Western Desert Force under Richard O'Connor, which has been forced to transfer men to Greece to face a possible invasion of the country. More than 250,000 men are mobilized along a 75-kilometer front on the Duce's orders with the intention of drawing the British into a battle which will force them to send reinforcements and so weaken their resistance to the Germans in Britain. Churchill is aware that defeat for his troops in Egypt would mean Alexandria and the Suez Canal falling into enemy hands. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe continues to bomb London and Liverpool with incendiary explosives and delay action bombs. Buckingham Palace is hit, forcing the royal family to leave the capital and settle in the north of the country. Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, declares in Berlin that the campaign against Britain will last no more than a month. After this, Europe will have to accept, voluntarily or by force, the new continental order imposed by Germany.
A just war. Death to the German invaders.
British planes bomb Berlin, its airfields and railway stations, the shipyards and port of Hamburg and the factories of Bremen. Military targets are hit in the Netherlands, along with harbors in northern Europe, where landing craft are mustering in preparation for Operation Sea Lion. Saturday, September 14th. Luftwaffe planes carry out intense daytime and nighttime raids against London. One bomb hitting the House of Lords. The factories, fuel deposits, and railway stations of the southeast of the country are heavily attacked, as is Northern Ireland. The RAF continues to bomb the landing craft assembled along the coast of Northern Europe. Hitler, meeting with the OKW commanders, says that London will have to choose to accept defeat like Paris or end up like Warsaw. Nonetheless, he is forced to acknowledge that the necessary conditions for landings to be undertaken have not been achieved, and Operation Sea Lion is delayed once again to the 27th of the month, the last opportunity of favorable tides for amphibious operations. In France, the Vichy government subsidizes the costs of German occupation to the tune of 50 million francs. The figure was set by the German government on the 25th of June, the day in which the armistice came into effect. Traveling from Italy, Queen Helen of Romania arrives at the railway station of Jimbolia on the Yugoslav border, where she is met by her son, King Michael. In North Africa, the Italians advanced into Egypt heading for Solum, while the Air Force relentlessly bombs the nearest British posts. Sunday, September 15th. A crucial day in the Battle of Britain. The German raids reached their greatest intensity with day and nighttime attacks. The cities hardest hit are London, Southampton, Bristol, Cardiff, Liverpool, and Manchester, while vicious airfights take place in the skies. The Spitfires and Hurricanes must confront waves of enemy aircraft, 230 bombers and 700 fighters. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill is at the command center of No. 11 Group RAF in Uxbridge in northwest London, which is headed by Air Marshal Keith Park, who has been charged with the air defense of the British capital. For hours, clashes between British and German planes take place in English skies, leaving a trail of smoke and fire. while the anti-aircraft batteries keep up a constant barrage. Marshal Hermann Göring flies in one of the nighttime flights over London. The chief of the Luftwaffe believes his pilots are invincible, but by this stage in the Battle of Britain, the inability of the German Air Force to defeat the RAF is becoming apparent. At the end of the day, the German planes withdraw, having suffered 58 losses, while the British have suffered only 38. Operation Seelöwe, Sea Lion, is becoming increasingly unlikely. For their part, the RAF planes bomb Berlin, Hamburg, the naval base of Wilhelmshaven, and the railway facilities of the Rhine. In Belgium, military targets are hit at Antwerp and Ostende. In France, the cities of Dunkirk, Calais, Boulogne, and Le Havre are bombed. Monday, September 16th. The American government successfully pushes the compulsory military service through Congress. In the Battle of Britain, the heavy bombing of London continues. The city's industrial areas have been reduced to rubble and hundreds of buildings have been destroyed. More than 2,000 have been killed and 8,000 injured. Churchill admits in the House of Commons that the air war is expected to intensify in the coming days. As for the Italian invasion of Egypt, the Prime Minister says it will soon be dealt with. RAF pilots, including a group of Polish volunteers, attack once again the ports of Boulogne-sur-Mer, Calais, and Dunkirk in France, Ostende in Belgium, and Veer on the Dutch island of Walcheren, wreaking havoc among the landing craft which were being prepared for the invasion. The battleship Bismarck sets sail from Hamburg to begin its maiden voyage. After anchoring in the inlet of Brunsbüttel in the mouth of River Elbe, it crosses the Kiel Canal and arrives at Schierhafen. In the Mediterranean, the island of Malta has endured 140 bombing raids since the start of the war. Off the coast of Benghazi in Libya, the British aircraft carrier Illustrious and battleship Valiant sink 2 destroyers of the Regia Marina and 2 freighters carrying supplies to the Italian troops in North Africa. Meanwhile, the Duce's men reach the surroundings of Sidi Barrani, where they engage the British Army in heavy combat. Tuesday, September 17th. Hitler knows that both his uninviting peace proposals and his struggle to control the British skies have failed. The planned amphibious invasion of Britain now appears unviable. To his naval adjutant, Lieutenant Karl von Puttkamer, he remarks that the conquest of France cost us the lives of 30,000 men. Crossing the English Channel could cost us twice as much, and we have no certainty of success. He decides to postpone the invasion of Britain until a more favorable situation presents itself. However, the Blitz against London and other British cities goes on. The Führer's ambitions now lie in the east, and the OKW, the High Command of the Armed Forces, begin to discuss plans for the invasion of the Soviet Union. The Spanish minister Serrano Suñer, who is visiting Germany, meets with the Nazi leader to discuss the possibility of Spain entering the war in support of the Third Reich. Suñer suggests that Spain might join the Axis in exchange for supplies of wheat, the return of Gibraltar, and the annexation of Morocco. In North Africa, the troops led by Marshal Graziani slow down their offensive against the British lines in Sidi Barrani in Egypt due to the fierce resistance they are encountering and a shortage of supplies. In the silent and cruel sea war, U-48, captained by Heinrich Bleidrott, sinks the British steamship City of Benares, which was taking refugees to Canada. More than 233 passengers die, including 83 children. Wednesday, September 18th. Hitler sends a letter to the Spanish dictator, General Francisco Franco, thanking him for his support. He now takes for granted Spain's entry into the war. The German Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop leaves Berlin for Rome to hold high-level meetings to discuss military and political issues. In the Battle of Britain, the Luftwaffe bombs London, Liverpool, and Glasgow. Meanwhile, RAF planes drop mines in waters stretching from Norway to the Gulf of Biscay and attack the ports and cities of Hamburg in Germany, Antwerp and Zeebrugge in Belgium, and Flushing on the Dutch island of Walcheren. In France, Dunkirk, Calais, and Boulogne, the artillery batteries on Cape Grisnez and the port of Cherbourg are bombed. In London, the British Secretary of State for Air, Archibald Sinclair, speaks in praise of the actions of the RAF in their fight against the Luftwaffe. British bombing has disrupted German industrial production, he says, and the fighter planes have extracted a heavy price from the enemy. The British have lost 621 aircrafts against 1,867 lost by the enemy, he states. On the African front, the Italians take Sidi Barrani in Egypt, bomb Boma in southern Sudan, and once again strike Malta in the Mediterranean. The British counterattack by nighttime air raids against the Libyan cities of Benghazi and Derna, occupied by Italy. In the sea war, the British Admiralty is forced to accept the loss of the submarine Narwhal. Meanwhile, U-48, commanded by Heinrich Bleibrot, sinks the freight ships Magdalena and Marina.